Timer. I'm going to start seated this evening. It's a nice place to be. So just taking your time to find a position that's easy. So if you've been sort of stuck in one position for a lot of the day, you might find actually just sitting down and sort of wriggling your spine out, relaxing your shoulders, opening the chest a little bit trickier than it might suggest. But we're trying to, as always, bring the heels into the groin rather than crossing the ankles, and then that lets us get the knees down a lot lower, and eventually looking to get those shins touching down into the ground. So you've got this much bigger foundation to hold your body from. And once you get to that point, it actually gets a whole lot easier. We'll start with wringing out the wrists a little bit. So we're going to bring the hands together and ideally bring our forearms and elbows, and then allow yourself to just roll those wrists around. So it doesn't have to be big movements to start with. Just kind of getting a little bit of juice into there. If you're doing this early in the morning, this class, then you'll need to take a little bit more care with this. But during the day, hopefully your wrists are warmed up a little bit. I'm moving in both directions, alternating from time to time when it feels right. And then you can start to get the movements a little bit bigger. So you actually slide your forearms sort of up and down on each other to help move the wrists around. Now it does get a little bit tight around the back of the shoulders, sort of crunching the chest forwards in this way. But it's only for a minute, and then we can shake out the fingers and shake out the arms. And then we can bring the fingers onto the collarbones. We'll take a little bit more into the shoulders. So again, elbows together, inhale up, learn to roll back. Nice big circles, try and bring the elbows into the side of the ribs and then run them across the chest low. Tap the elbows together, roll. I tend to duck my head forwards when I take the elbows up. That's more to allow me to get around the glasses frames that I wear. So ideally, you would be able to keep your head from nodding. I think I've done it for so many years now that if I take my glasses off, I still probably would nod anyway. But if you can be nodless, that would be good. Take a couple of revolutions rather, going the opposite way. Just rest them out a little bit. Float the arms out wide. Take eagle arms. Take the left arm across, right arm over the top. Bend at the elbows, bring the palms together and let the shoulders sit down and the elbows sinking towards the chest. But this time you're going to draw the shoulder blades together a little bit behind you. So it's going to feel like you're opening the chest a bit more. Sit as tall as you can. And even more emphasis on breathing in through the belly since the chest is a little bit compressed in. There's space in the back of the lungs to breathe into, but just allow you to focus the breath a little bit lower down. And release the arms out. And see if we can wrap them across the opposite way. So right arm underneath, left arm on top. Sink the elbows down, relax the shoulders, and draw them back a little bit. Relax the arms. The shoulders a little shrug. Okay, sort of take the legs out. And just roll the ankles around a little bit. You can see that we're lifting the knees as well. So we're letting the blood supply move back into the back of the knees. Just windscreen wiper them in and out a few times. And then we'll gradually move up to an all fours position. So we'll come slowly round. Move the block off to the side and have it more towards the front of the mat if you can. Tabletop position, so rather than sinking down, you want to push away from the floor, feel the belly drawing a little bit. Knees underneath the hips and about hip distance apart. We'll start to take the chest forwards, a couple of rounds of cat-cow. Just getting used to bearing a little bit of weight into the heel of the hand, down through the knuckles. Some long, juicy stretches. Comfortable with a long, juicy breath. We'll come back into neutral. Tuck the toes underneath. Take ourselves into down dog. I start to stretch the legs out if that feels good to you. Otherwise, you can keep the legs static. It's not a problem. Always having a bit of a gap between the heels and the floor. So there is a little bit of space to move into. Drawing the hips up and back, keeping those hands flat to the floor. We'll move slowly into a plank as you breathe in. Take a little breath. Allow ourselves to bend the elbows, come down halfway, and then press back up. Come down halfway, press back up. Number 3. More. 5. Straight into down dog. We'll scissor, right leg high. Allow ourselves to come into a plank. Bring the foot gently to the floor. Lift ourselves up on the tippy toes. Roll over the feet into the dog. We'll scissor the left leg. Come forwards into the plank. Ease the foot to the floor. Lift the hips up, come up on the tippy toes. Roll it back into your down dog. Right leg scissors. Breath in. Use the exhale to come forwards. And bring the foot down. Lift up on the tippy toes. Roll it back. Scissor to the left for the last time. Come forwards. Bring the foot gently to the floor. Lift high into our down dog. And we're going to slowly walk hands in towards the toes. We're moving towards the back of the mat. Into a forward bend. Ease the hands onto the shins to lift halfway up. And exhale. All the way down. Inhale it up. Long spine. Exhale it down. Inhale it up. And exhale it down. Open the hands onto the hips. Open the knees a little as we draw the body up. And take the hands toward the sky on the breath in. Bring the hands through the heart. Allow yourself to hinge forwards, just shifting the weight a little into the toes, folding it. Hands over the hips again, shoulders and elbows back. Lift slowly up. Inhale high. Through the heart and down to the floor. Drawing the belly in, up a little bit. And under lock. Hands over the hips for the last time to lift up. Inhale high. As we bring the hands through the heart, we're going to take the feet out about as wide as the mat. And turn the toes out a little bit as you soften down into a squat. Allow yourself to take hold of the mat. So just the sides, and then pull the mat forwards a little bit with your hands. And see if you can sink down far enough so the back of your arms press into the thighs and the outer side of the legs. Just helps you from ricocheting back, springing on for your body. So just a little bit of pull, drawing the belly in, opening the groins, working into the shoulders. We'll take a breath from there. Let the mat unravel. Bring the fingers to the floor, lift the hips high, and roll the toes back in to about hip distance apart, into that forward fold. And then bring the hands onto the hips again. And let ourselves lift up. Shake it out a little bit, come into the front of the mat. Allow ourselves to bring the hands up towards the sky. Now we'll take the fingers towards the sky and the index finger interlace the others. Start to take it into a little back bend. We're going to take a couple of breaths here. Press down through the feet, draw the belly in. Now take the hands forwards this time. Try and keep them above the shoulders. Allow ourselves to come all the way down into that forward bend and release the hands. We can take a breath and soften the knees a fraction and slide the left foot back just enough to get the heel to the ground. Two straight legs, we come onto the fingertips and we're pyramid pose. Now you can, if you struggle with this, bring your hands onto the shins. Try not to press your knee back. You want to push down through the foot and get the muscles to lift up. If you're able to keep your fingertips on the floor, it's a little easier to do that. Now, ideally, the feet are still that hip distance apart. Pressing down as much as you can into the floor with both feet. All the muscles in both legs feel like they're lifting. Soften the front knee. Step it back into our forward bend. So we take a little opportunity to fold in deeper. Soften the knees again. Allow ourselves to take the right foot back. About a half step, I guess. Up onto the fingertips, draw the chest forwards a little bit. Try to relax the shoulders out wide. Think of a long line between the crown of your head and your hips. And just trying to get your body into that shape. At the same time as pressing the feet down into the floor. Soften the front knee and step into the forward bend again. As you do, allow yourself to bring your toes together, a little bit of gap for the ankle bones, fold in deep. Carefully bring your hands onto your hips. Spine is long, shoulders are drawn back, and we lift up. Take the hands high, then bring them in towards the heart as we soften the knees over the toes. We sit down a little deeper, squeezing the thighs together. We're going to lean the weight into the left leg and slowly extend the right foot forwards. So it just hovers an inch over the ground. The toes are pointing out. Thighs locked side by side, pressing in. So it's a single leg standing chair balance. We'll bring the foot carefully back in. Let's see if we can gently move the weight onto the second side. And the opposite leg out. Knees are touching knees. And bring the foot back again. Sink down a little lower, take it into a revolve chair, taking the right arm across to the left, keeping the hips over the center line and knees square to each other. Draw the chest forwards a little bit. Start slowly to gaze towards the side of the mat. And see if you can roll the chest open enough to start to let the head gaze towards the ceiling a fraction. We'll slowly bring ourselves round. Using the exhale. Come into the second side. Lengthen the body a little bit. Square the body over the center line. Put those legs together. And then gradually start to rotate the chest around. And come back to the center. Hands to the floor. Rest the ribs on the thighs. Let the legs open out into that deep forward bend. We're stepping back into that, the middle of the mat with those feet. Walk the hands in. Hands onto the hips, allow yourself to lift up. Turn the arms high again as we breathe in. Bring hands through the heart. Find something to focus on as you shift your weight into your left leg. Allow yourself to slowly bring the right knee up. And squeeze that for a couple of breaths. And carefully take the hands around the shin. And start to include the arms drawing in. But being careful not to lean back. Pressing the body down, sorry, the foot down into the floor. Feel my body rocking over a little bit there. Let that foot, oops, took my eyes off what I was focusing on. Back down to the floor. Bring hands in towards the heart again. We'll shift the weight into the opposite leg. Allow ourselves to bring the knee slowly up. A couple of breaths, just squeezing, drawing the knee as high as we can. We're trying to allow ourselves to take the hands around the shin with as little as leaning forwards as possible. Pull the shoulders back, allow the knee to lift a little closer in. Come back down to the floor. Shake out the ankles a little bit as you step in towards the front of the mat. Shake out the legs. And then hip distance apart, front of the mat. Put the arms high as we breathe in. Bringing the hands through the heart and come down. Standing position into the forward fold. Take a little breath here. Slowly send the right foot back into the lunge. Just checking your front knee is over your ankle, your fingertips are more or less lining with the front toes. And press out through the back heel. Allow the leg to extend out behind you. We'll drop the back heel in to the center line, ready for warrior two. Bring hands alongside the body. also lifts a little bit. I draw the right arm forwards. Everything lines up, arm and body. Let ourselves cartwheel slowly up on the exhale into our warrior two. I'll bring the hands in towards the heart. Take them down towards the floor. Step back into the down dog. Adjust the feet. Go forwards into the plank. Taking half plank, push forwards on the tippy toes. Lower the ribs and elbows together. Boot laces change. Long draw of breath in into up dog. Strong legs. Roll over the toes if you can, or step the feet back into your down dog. Allow yourself to adjust. Go around to optimize the pose. Now the scissors are right leg to the sky. Draw them in towards the chest as you begin to exhale, holding the down dog position. Take another breath. Lift up onto the tippy toes. Bring your foot gently through to the front of the mat. Into the second lunge, pressing out to the straightest back leg we can manage. On the fingertips, lifting the chest a little bit off of the thigh, allows you to breathe a little easier. Push off the toes of the back foot into that forward bend. Hands gently onto the hips. Soften the knees and allow ourselves to lift. Put the hands high again on the breath in. Through the heart. Over the toes we go, back into that forward bend. Take a little breath. It's a slow step of the left foot back into the lunge. Pressing out enough to actually feel the buttock on the left leg start to engage and lift a little bit. Drop the heel down. Bring hands alongside the body. Lift. Get the left arm forwards. Slowly lift up into our warrior two. And relax the shoulders. The chest is facing the long side of the mat. We'll bring the hands back in towards the heart, come down to the floor. Stepping back into our down dog. Come forwards gently into the plank. Push forwards on the tippy toes, exhale down, half plank. Slow inhale on the way up. Ride the wave. And then back into our down dog. Adjust your feet, your body to your best advantage in down dog. On the exhale, we'll lift the left leg and scissor. Draw the knee in towards the chest. On the exhale, holding dog. Use a breath in, lift on the tippy toes. Use your next exhale to bring your foot through. Press out again through that back heel. We'll push off the toes of the back foot into the forward bend. Again, bring the hands onto the hips and let ourselves lift. Inhale high, hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Taking a breath, a slow extension of the right foot to the back of the mat into lunge. This time we bring the hands alongside the body and lift the torso a little. Both hands travel forwards and extend out in line with the body. We'll take another breath and we draw the tailbone down to lift ourselves into a high crescent. One breath at the top and exhale the knee down gently to the floor and tucking the toes as you arrive. Bring the palms together, interlaced fingers, index finger raised, and exhale over towards your right side bend. Come to the center and to the left. Center again. It's 3 times in total to each side. The last pairing. As you come to the center, bring your hands to the floor. Just on the fingertips, we take the toe on the back foot and lift the knee. Dropping the heel in for warrior 2. Hands come alongside your body. Right arm comes forwards and we lift our way up. Put hands in towards the heart and down to the floor we go. Stepping back into our down dog. Come forwards into the plank, to half plank on an exhale. Keep the hips high. Inhale on your up dog. Exhale into your down dog. Scissor your right leg high. Knee in towards the chest on the exhale. Inhale to the tippy toes. Bring the foot through into the lunge. Take a breath as you press out through the back leg and push off the toes on your exhale to the forward bend. Hands onto the hips and we lift up. Inhale high. Hands in the heart. And exhale down to the floor. Taking a breath, left foot back. Hands alongside the body. Inhale forward. Use an exhale. Come high. One breath at the top. Use the exhale to slowly guide yourself down onto that knee. Untuck the toes. Hands come together. Breath. Use the exhale to the left side bend. Inhaling up. Crossing over. To the center. To the side. Over to the right. To the center. Last pair. Left. Center. Right. Center, hands to the floor. Remember, it's just fingertips. Tuck the toe underneath on the back foot as you lift the knee. Drop your heel in, ready for warrior 2. Hands alongside your body. Left arm goes through and up. Hands coming to the heart as you breathe in. Down to the floor we go on the exhale. Inhale to down dog. Come forwards on the exhale into plank to half plank. Inhale on the way up. And exhale back into your dog. Scissor your left leg high. Keep the hips, shoulders square. Knee in towards the chest. Inhale up on the tippy toe. Bring the foot through. And you've made some space. Last lunge. Push off the toes into the forward bend. Hands to the hips. We'll let ourselves lift. Come high again. Hands to the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Slow extension of the right foot back into lunge. Turn the heel in, hands alongside for that warrior two lift. Hands into the heart, down to the floor we go. Step it back into down dog. Come forwards into plank. Drop your right knee. Bring your right foot to the side as we take the left heel to the ground and open up into a side plank. Just opening the chest as far as we can. Bring the hand back down to the floor. Whew. Back into our down dog. Come forwards into plank. Drop in the left. Knee, foot out to the side. Open up. Again, we open the chest as far as we can. So we're kind of over rotating to a fair degree. We bring the hands back down to the floor. Step it back to down dog. We'll come forwards into the plank, half plank and up dog. To down dog. Immediately feel the right leg on the breath in. Tippy toe as we do. And bring the knees through on the exhale to the front of the mat for the lunge. Take a breath as you settle, finding your balance, depressing into that forward bend. Hands onto the hips, and let ourselves lift. Last side, inhaling up. Hands through the heart and exhaling down to the floor. Taking a breath, slow extension of the left foot back. Drop the heel in, hands alongside the body. It's a slow lift into warrior two territory. Hands come into the heart as we breathe in, down to the floor we go. Stepping back, down dog. Come forwards into plank. Drop the right knee. Pivot the foot to the side, drop the left heel in and open up as far as you can. Hand down to the floor. Move back into down dog. Come forwards into plank. Drop the left knee, pivot, foot to the side. Let yourself open up wide. Hands come to the floor. Final down dog to half plank and up dog. Well, listen, this little sequence is in exhale. We'll still the left leg high. Come onto the tippy toes and draw the knees through on your exhale. All the way into your lunge. Take the breath. Allow yourself to press into that fold. Hands onto the hips. And let ourselves lift. Inhale high. Put the hands into the heart. Close the eyes if it feels good. A moment to rest. Let some heat out of the body. Let the breath come back. And hopefully able to take advantage of the sense of the feet connecting and grounding to the floor, rooting down, spreading out. We'll open the breath and the eyes. Allow ourselves to hinge forward to the floor again. Bringing the hands down. Take a breath. Step the right leg to the back of the mat. Take a little breath from there. Allow ourselves to bring the hands alongside the body. Bring the hands forwards and lengthen out. Except to lift halfway up. Kind of following the line of the back leg. Now bring the hands back down to the floor. Drop the back heel into the center line. Raise up the lift into warrior two. Now bring your hands in towards your heart. Rotate your chest towards the front of the mat. I'm going to lean forwards and take the right arm forwards and press the left arm back into advancing warrior. Sweep both arms forwards. Take a little breath. Allow yourself to lift the hips, the chest up. Rotate again, open up into your warrior two. Extend out over the front thigh. Allow yourself to slowly lift the right arm up and out towards the front of the mat. Now bring the hand back to 12 o'clock. And then start to wrap your hand around towards the middle section of your thigh on the opposite side. You take a breath and lower yourself down a little more to the floor. You can use the fingertips to steady yourself. And then bring your hand underneath the left arm and see if you can bind from the hips a little over towards the right. Release. Ooh, one hand to the floor. Take the top arm up and over, down to the ground. Both hands there. We'll bring the hands either side. Step back into down dog. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. Bring the foot through into lunge. Take a breath and step forwards. Holding deep. Hands under the hips. Oh, it's a long way up some days. Hands come high as you breathe in. Hands into the heart. And exhale down to the floor. So we're just going to do that whole thing again. This time we're taking the left back into the lunge. Hands alongside the body. Lift the torso a little. And hands forwards, extend out, and then lift up halfway. So bring the hands down to the floor. The back foot in. Lift ourselves into warrior two. So left hand drives forwards and up. Hands coming towards the heart. We're taking advanced warrior again. So turn the chest slowly and the hips. Left arm goes forwards, right arm goes back. And we lean out. Keeping the back foot a little anchored to the floor. You start to swoop both arms forwards and lift up. And open into your warrior two. As you arrive, extend out over the front thigh. Forearm comes in. Top arm lifts up to 12 and past. And out towards the front edge of the mat. Take it towards 12 o'clock again. Start to wrap the arm around the body. Dropping the right hand onto the inside, down to the floor. A little steadiness. And then bringing the hand underneath. Taking the bind. Try and relax the shoulders. release the hands onto the ground, one to the sky, and then take that top one arm towards the front of the mat, down to the floor. Whew. And both hands come gently in. Just the back into the down dog. Now, scissor, left leg, draw the knee in through. Take the breath, push off the back toes. It's that final standing forward bend in this sequence. Hands come onto the hips and the lift up. Inhale, hands into the heart again. Another little breath. Moment, close the eyes, connect with the ground. So slow dynamic lifts. Lots of oxygen being moved around through those muscles. That's where the original or the first part of your energy store sits. It doesn't take long to deplete. Now you know why sprinters are such a hurry to get down the 100 meters as fast as it can. It takes them too long, they just run out of air and energy in the muscles. Okay, we'll take a breath. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Hinging over the hips, soften the knees just a little bit as you fold in. And take a breath and send the right foot back into the lunge. We'll drop the heel in. Bring both hands onto the inside of the front leg, and then take your right hand onto your hip. As you begin to straighten your front leg, allow yourself to lift gently up from the floor into triangle pose. Now you can keep the hand onto the hip or move it to the back of the spine, or you can lift it towards the sky. It really is your choice. Either way, we're doing our best to lengthen the spine out of the pelvis, get a little bit more lift rather than dropping down, so the hand is off of the floor and off of the shin. And open the chest as far as I can to the long side of the mat. Now I'll slowly take the right hand up, extend it out all the way to the front of the mat. Begin to turn my chest down towards the floor. Let's see if I can get the fingertips just to go on the ground briefly as I move the left hand back out towards the left side. And then start to lift the elbow as I rotate the trunk. And then extend the left hand to the sky into that revolved triangle. So the more I rotate the body, the less strenuous it is in the shoulders, the easier it is to breathe. It's not particularly easy, but it's easier. Bring them both hands back down to the floor. Whew. Spin the heel on the back foot. Soften the front knee back into the lunge. Whew. And press ourselves into that forward bend. Bring the hands onto the hips. Let ourselves lift slowly back up. Into the hands high again. Into the heart, down to the floor. Taking a breath. Left leg back into the lunge. Drop the heel in. Bring the right hand in. Slowly take your left hand towards your hip as you turn your chest and straighten the front leg. Until you get to the point where you can lift your hand just off of the floor. You can wrap your arm around, as we said. So the hands are on the back of the sacrum, palm facing it. Lengthening the body out. Can't have the hand to the sky, but it's going to get enough work in the shoulders already. So I'll take the easier option. Conserve a little bit of oxygen. Your choice. Especially as I'm facing the wrong way, can't see what's going on. Okay, we're going to take a breath in and lift the top arm off if you haven't already. Extend it out towards the front of the mat. Turn the chest towards the ground and bring your fingertips to the floor. Bring your right hand in towards your hip. Take a little breath, turn the body, draw the elbow to the sky, rotate your way around. So just on the fingertips, two straight legs. Toes on the back foot are pointing out 45 degrees-ish, just like we would as if we were doing warrior two. Last breath. Bring the hand down to the floor. Ooh. Spin the back heel, soften the front into your lunge. Turn the page. Always a good sign. Take a little breath and step it into the front of the mat. Bring the hands onto the hips, shoulders and elbows back, soften the knees, let ourselves lift up. Inhale to the sky. Bring our hands to the floor, step back into down dog. And then as soon as we arrive in dog, we're going to come down onto the knees. Last little stretch out, come forwards, knees to the ground. Slowly sit back onto the heels. We'll take the block with us so it's ready for a moment. And again, we're just taking that little bit of a breather that we've been patterning through the class this evening. Arms face onto the thigh, eyes closed. Now I'll stay here long, and we'll just lift up a little bit, move the block underneath the back of us, the feet forwards. We come into a seated twist, legs out in front into Dandasana, sitting tall, and then draw that left heel towards the right hip. We'll take the right foot over, tilt the pelvis forwards, rotate in towards the right. And we'll release. Both legs out. Cross over to the opposite side. Tilt the pelvis forwards again. Rotate to the left. Release. Take both legs out again, side by side. Bring the left heel into the groin, knee out to the side. A little softness in the front knees. We bring the hands onto the shins. Hinge over the hips into Janu Shirshasana and bring ourselves down onto that side. Just taking the hands around the heel. Could be the side of the ankles. Whatever feels good. We keep a little bend in the knee to protect the hamstrings. We've done a lot of work this evening. Just pressing that heel into the groin and flexing the foot a little bit as you press the shin, the bent leg down to the floor. Last breath, bring the hands into the ground, let yourself lift up. Swap over to the last side. Square, little bend. Lift, hinge over the thigh. Hands back in, let ourselves lift. Let's scoot the bottom forwards. Allow yourself to roll the spine down to the floor. Just going to move the block out of the way so it's not able to be underneath the head. I want to have a flat back for this part. Going to bring the knees directly above the hips and then the shins parallel to the floor. Squeeze the thighs together, point the toes, draw your belly down and your lower back into the floor. Allow yourself to take your hands out around the back of your head, lightly interlacing your elbows on the ground. Draw your belly down a little more. We're going to just cross over gently from side to side in a kind of sit-up twist motion. We're going to take a breath in, and on the exhale, we're going to lengthen the right leg out. Keeping the left elbow on the ground, I'm going to pivot my way up and bring my right elbow across to the left knee and roll back. Now we'll slowly move to the opposite side. Now you want to try and get this lift and turn to take through from the body. So we're not using the elbow to flip across. Imagine that you had an old long broom handle running from elbow to elbow across the back of your shoulders. It would be mildly uncomfortable and impossible to move in this direction, but it would hold you in place if your arms were strapped in. Just gently working our way through. We'll get one more to each side. Lift the body up and crunch it in. Okay. I'll take the legs all the way to the sky. Take a little breath and bring your chin in towards your chest. And take your hands forwards past your thighs. Allow yourself to roll your chest up as high as you can towards your thighs. And keeping the thighs pressing together a little bit, we'll just take it into half boat. Bending the legs out. Remember to breathe. And we'll take the legs slowly back up. Find a little squeeze of the body. Bring the hands behind the back of the head and lay your spine down to the floor. Allow yourself to bend your knees in towards your body and bring your feet gently to the ground. And the hands in, come to the side of your body, palms facing up, with a little space underneath the armpits to let the air circulate on this warm evening. Slide the heels out to the corner edges of the mat. Allow yourself to wriggle through the hips and the shoulders a little bit. Make sure you get nice and long in the neck as you close your eyes and soften your jaw into Shavasana. We'll begin to stretch those fingers and toes. Breathe a little deeper. Begin to roll the wrists and ankles around, reconnecting your nervous system. Breath and mind and your body as one. Allow yourself to stretch out in any way that feels good. Just follow your instincts. And slowly draw the heels along the floor to enable you to bring your knees gently in towards your body. Choose the path of least resistance in your body. Make yourself to rock and roll a little bit from side to side. Take a breath in and roll gently onto your right side. Take another breath and use the exhale to press into the hands to lift up. Come back to seated. Sitting up tall, bring the hands in towards the heart as you close the eyes, taking a longer, deeper, slow breath in. And allow that slow exhalation to begin, dropping the chin to the chest and feeling the belly drawn to the spine. Inevitable bow to the floor, sealing the practice. On the inhale, let the head and the body lift with the breath until you can open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope to see you on the mat again soon.